Hello everyone, here I am in another video, and today I'd like to talk um about something that I was thinking this week, and I would like to share with you. And even though this is not my best videos, I see that I kind of have some kind of a good engagement when I do this kind of videos, so that's why I decided to do it. And these videos will be posted on July, so I'm recording it before because I will be traveling in July. So because of that, I will not be able to record videos. So I'll probably be a bit different in July. That's why I'm telling because I'm planning on having a haircut. And because of that, I will probably be extremely different in July. And I hope so because I want to change. But in these videos, I will still have a long hair for a while. So for you here on YouTube, I will be still with a long hair, but in real life, I will be with a short hair, and you'll probably see the difference on Instagram and TikTok. Okay, but anyway, uh, I'd like to talk about something because I saw a video, and this video were like a react to a scene of a movie that came out last year, I guess. I don't know if it was in 2024 or last year, but I guess it was last year. And it's a movie with Naomi Watts and Tom Hanks. But I don't know the name. But it's basically a movie, if I remember correctly, where she turns 50 and she kind of gets life prizes because of that, because she started to think about everything she didn't do in her whole life and regret it, so basically that scene where she's literally turning 15, and I guess it is um the first scene of the movie. I'm not pretty sure because I haven't watched it. uh Made me think a lot, especially because I saw this scene again now. And I would like to talk about it, this reflection of, like getting to a point of your life that we look back and we see everything we weren't able to do. And there are many movies about it. Another movie kind of went viral uh, on the internet again. That's basically about it, also. That's called You Again, I guess, with Kristen Bell. And I remember that when I was younger, I watched this movie like 1,000 times with my mom and my sister because back then we thought it was extremely funny. But right now on the internet, people are being a bit more honest about this movie, where they kind of are mad that in the end of the movie, the lady, I will say it's probably right now. So if you haven't watched it, even though it's a movie from 2005, basically in the end of the movie, the bullied girl asks sorry for the buller. Okay, but anyway. And in this movie, we also saw the mom of the main character kind of regretting the life she had, comparing her life to the aunt of the buller. And she saw that the lady was traveling, she was rich, and she looked at her own life and saw my life was being a mom. And thinking about all those movies and that scene in special where we see the lady kind of say, I wanted to go to law school, I wanted to travel to Paris in spring, and she looking back and she were like, I've never done that in my whole life because I was always living for somebody else, or living for a life that I never actually had. And I was thinking that right now I'm 22. I already made some mistakes in my personal life that didn't made me able to make a lot of my dreams come true at the time that I wanted them to come true, you know? And for my whole life, I was told that my dreams were bullshit, that my dreams were not to me, that I should lower my standards because I was never been able to achieve my dreams. And today I'm 22 and I haven't been able to make my dreams come true because I got to a point in my life that I started to believe in it. When I was 18, when I turned 18, I was so convinced of that I was never able to have the life I wanted because I was dumb, because I wasn't smart enough, because I wasn't prepared, because I wasn't able to make it happen. And because of that, I literally lost 4 years of my life because I was like, if I don't deserve the life of my dreams, why should I fight for something? You know? And this year, I was committed to change this mindset. And of course, I will not kind of undo 4 years and 4 months. Of course, I will not. And this literally the time where I started to search for treatment. It was 4 months ago, talking from June, not June. And basically, I trying to, like destroy this failure mindset and rebuild a new mindset where I truly believe that I'm able. Because I don't want to get into my 50s and say that thing, you know? Especially because I live in an environment where basically everyone by my side, they didn't achieve any of the dreams. And I'm talking about real dreams. I'm not talking about like a dream of having a Chanel bag, a dream of having a sporty car. I'm not talking about materialism. I dream of having an iPhone because for you from US it must be kind of impressive, but here in Latin America having an iPhone is a dream. This is for you to kind of have an idea of how life is here. And uh I'm not talking about these materialist dreams. I'm talking about the dreams that we have of experiences, of life achievements, things that cannot be taken. Because, for example, a cell phone, it can broke down, and you will simply put into a trash and buy a new one. So it's such a fragile dream. A sporty car, another one, another new one will come out. And this that you have is not a dream anymore because now we're dreaming about the new version of this sporty car. The Chanel bag. A lot of Chanel models goes viral on the internet. And you look at this one that you have and will be like, it's not that pretty. Now I want this new one. So you see that material is so unuseful at the end of the day. But when I'm talking about getting your dreams come true, actually, I'm talking about real life dreams. And I looked at my own life after watching that scene, and I was like, okay, I'm 22. I already lost 4 years of my life, but I'm still 22. I still have time. But maybe 10 years, 10 years later, actually, I will not have the amount of time that I have right now, you know, and I will have more issues to deal with. Maybe I will not have the support of my parents 10 years later. So I have to use everything I have in my own hands right now. Now, I have to use it now because time is passing by. And these 4 years that I've lost will not come back. And the more time I spend, the less time I have. That's how time works. But I still have time. Not as much time I had when I were 18, but I still have time. And I have to use this amount of time that I have now to actually do what is necessary and do things and try and experiment things that actually will lead me to where I want to be. I cannot be doing anything randomly. I could do that when I were 18, but now I'm not 18 anymore. But I have to tell you that if you're around my age or a bit older, you still have time to do what you actually want. But you have to be really careful about the decisions you take in your life. Because I have to say that once you get married, you won't have the amount of freedom that you have right now that you're single. Unless you live in a toxic household where you're oppressed by your parents. In this case, married may be a good option for you. But if you have a common life, parents that, even though they are not supportive, they simply don't care, which is my case. They are not supportive, but they don't care about what I do, basically. I have a freedom of making my own decisions without having to consider the opinion of a husband, for example. And once you are married, it's rated that you have children. You don't even have to be married to have children, but let's just imagine a scenario where you're married and you have children. It will be even harder for you to have your own decisions because now you have to consider your husband and your children. So it's not about you anymore, it's about your family. And the decision you make will affect these people. And sometimes, because of this effect in their lives, you will give up on many things you really wanted because of that, because your priority is that. And you can criticize me, but let's be honest, we women, we are so, turned to our children, especially our children, where, I'm sorry, I'm having allergy right now. But we are actually vowed to these children. Even though we won't be selfish, we are not able to be selfish. We do not allow ourselves to be selfish. We can be wrong. Yeah, we can be wrong about it. But we are unable to change it because our children is the thing we care the most about. So even though we want to let them by the side and focus on yourself, in the end of the day, we are not fully able to be that selfish. We always thinking about what's best for them than to us. That's why we see many women giving up on their studies because they have children. Because if they're studying, they don't have enough time to focus on school. That's why we see many women giving up on their jobs. Because if they're working, they don't have enough time to educate their children. And it's really serious, but most part of women, they're not even married to a supportive husband. They will see that you want to study, that you want to finish your studies, that you want to work, that you want to have your money, and they will kind of share the tasks with you. They will not do that because most part of the men, they are not even taught to be like that. They are taught to be selfish. They are taught to be focused on your career, have your own money, because you have to provide to your family. But also, their family are not interesting anymore. They will leave their family without looking back. And that's the difference of we and men, because we cannot do that. Of course, some women will do that. We know that they will do that. But in most part of women, they are not able to simply ignore the family and let them. Most part of us, we are not able. But it's much easier for a man to do that. And that's it. We cannot count on their support. Of course, I'm not saying that every man is like that. We know they're not. Of course, you can find a good husband that will help you. Of course. And if I got married someday, I want to marry a supportive husband. I even joke here with my sister that I don't want to be a mother, I want to be a father. That's my dream. And I want my husband to be the mother of the relation. It's just a joke, of course. But um of course you can find a supportive husband that will help you with children, but it will be a bit harder for us to find this amazing man, especially because it's not about being supportive. He has to be hot, he has to be a provider and all those things. But anyway, so we know that we will dedicate at least 80% of our lives to our family. And we know that we're unable to do not do that. So while you don't have a family, while you're single and dull, do as much things you want as you can. You want to travel, work, save the money, and travel. Go to Paris on spring. You want to get your degree, do it right now. Do not wait to find a man to finally start doing those things. Try to pursue it while you can pursue it by yourself and do it. Because I have to be honest here. Once you get married and have children, you'll probably won't be able. Or you may be able, because I see many women who got their degrees married and with children, but they had to wait to their children to be a bit grown up to start it. So they started as such a like a point of their lives that it was a bit harder, you know. So you have to be realistic about it, about this side, that you may not be able to reach it once you have a family and once you be older. You can, because while you're alive, we still have chances every day. If you are healthy, you have chances. But you know that it will be harder. You know that it will be harder. So Do it right now. You're in the 20s, you're in the 30s. Do it right now. I know that it will not change overnight. Of course, it won't change overnight. But you can change it sooner than if you wait 10 years to let it happen. Then if you wait 20 years, you're young and you have to use your youth to you. Because I have to tell you, many older men, they want to steal your youth. A lot of guys on their 30s, on their 40s, want to reach out to 20 years old girls to steal their youth. So the moment of your life that you can be selfish is now. You can be selfish right now. So do not waste it. Do not give it to someone who will only use it to their own benefit. Use it to yourself. Use your 20s to yourself. Buy the things you want. Go to the places you want. Finish your degree. Go on your master's program. Invest in your education. Invest in your cultural knowledge and experiences and all. Travel as much as you can. Save your money. You know, if you want to buy yourself a home, buy yourself a flat or a house, whatever it is on your ornament, but do not give your youth to someone who will simply, like drain your energy. Do not give your youth to a guy who will simply treat you as a maid. Because even if you're giving it to your children, it's better than giving it to a man that will only drain you and treat you like a maid. Do not give it to someone who will waste it. Give it to yourself. Use it to yourself. So travel, know the world, know countries, know cities, know museums, eat tasty food, eat a lot of things that you want to try. you know um you can have so many experiences. Go on adventures, but do it to yourself, because you get to a point in your life that you will be 50, and I want you to look back and say, I had a extraordinary life, and I'm happy to be 50 because I had an amazing life. I lived a lot, and I'm a happy 50 person. And I would like to finish this video, and this video is extremely long. But anyway, uh, talking about a bit my mom's story. My mom had a really sad life story, and I will not share many personal details. But to be honest, her whole life was working. She gave her life to work. You know, she never even had dreams because she was simply trying to survive. And even today, that she has an amazing salary. She is a extremely good professional. She's respected, and no, she never actually lived her dreams because she was always working. Because she thought that she'll only be happy if she works and had money, but she don't even uses her money. And because of that, she's always wanted to buy things. Buying. Because she has to make their money worth it. But what's the point of it? Now my mom is 50. My mom never lived the country. She never made a travel to abroad even though she had money to that. My mom do not drive. She never learned how to drive, you know. My mom do not speak a foreign language. And why? Why? And I look at my mom. I respect her at all costs. I see her as an example of virtue, of character, because she's extremely honest. She's a good person, and though she's an example for me in many sides of her life. But I would never want to have her life. And she's my mom. Because I saw how dependent on other people she is. And I don't want to be like that. My mom now is 50 and she don't even miss not living nothing because she never even let herself to want something, you know. And it's sad. So dream on and follow your dreams. I know this is not easy because I'm still trying to figure out how to follow mine. But if I'm here on this channel making this video, it's because I'm trying something. Even though I'm failing, but I'm trying something, you know? So that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it and see you in the next one. Bye.